with the weather being the way that it was. Just kind of woke up, put my American flag stuff on, and hung out in the house. Then went and had dinner with the family, and just kind of chilled around. You know, it was good.
Hamburgers and hot dogs, and that's what I did. I don't know about y'all.
We went to Aubrey's to celebrate.
Oh, you went out. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we went to Aubrey's to celebrate my grandfather's birthday. So, you know, we had a nice local meal and just kind of hung out as a family. Had some family in town, so it was good. It was good. I played golf all weekend this weekend, so I hit 90 holes in 52 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so enjoyed the long weekend for sure.
Yeah, Jacob spent a lot of time in the sand, I'm sure.
And I'm sure you
this weekend.
You walked all 90 holes, right?
I will say, I walked over about 25,000 steps a day.
Oh, I know.
So,
Yeah, even in a cart, there's always those certain holes where you can't get off the cart path.
Yeah.
And it never fails. When you got cart path only holes, you always hit it to the furthest area away from the cart path every time.
every single time.
I saw this made me think of you, Jacob, being on that golf trip. I saw one of these little things on social media that shows a guy in the sand on the golf course, and it said, "Remember, your Monday in the sand is because of these guys Monday in the sand," and it was the beaches at Normandy.
That's right.
So pretty cool day of remembrance and memory of those soldiers that lost their lives for our country, and we all got to celebrate in our own ways and remember all those people.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
Great
And
movie.
The first 15 minutes of that movie, to me, it's the greatest viewing of an actual war that's ever been filmed. And they say the accuracy was uncanny. If you listen to some of the veterans that were alive when that movie first came out, they said, "Oh my gosh, it just brings back memories and and horror and everything, but how accurate it was."
Yes. Now, have you ever seen Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
I've heard the same thing about it. So
I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. It was put out in I guess early '70s. It was called Tora, Tora, Tora.
I've not
It was
seen that.
another movie about the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and very, very good movie. I highly recommend it. I'm sure you can find it somewhere, but it's called Tora, 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 and it's extremely good.
Hey, you've got some quick breaking news here. In the world of high school athletics here locally, Walker Valley High School has announced that Coach Todd Wright has been named the girls basketball coach, and I'm going to quickly read to you the press release from Walker Valley High School. Walker Valley High School is excited to announce the hiring of Todd Wright, head coach for our girls basketball program. With a strong commitment to excellence both on and off the court, our new coach brings a wealth of experience, leadership, and passion for developing student athletes to their fullest potential. This hire marks a new chapter for Walker Valley's girls basketball team. We look forward to a bright future under Coach Wright's guidance. Coach Wright boasts a career head coach win record of over 400, multiple Coaches of the Year awards, and 2 NCAA Division III tournament appearances. His extensive coaching experience at the collegiate and high school level will further the Lady Mustangs program. So Coach Wright has coached at Maryville College as the head coach, Roane State Community College as the head coach, Blount County Schools head girls basketball coach, and then also at Oliver Springs High School as the head coach. So a very extensive resume there from the new head girls basketball coach at Walker Valley, Coach Wright.
Well, it sounds like he's got, a good resume. Now, I'm going to ask both y'all a question. And the reason I'm asking this is because you have a man that's going to be coaching girls basketball. And I got in a heated argument several years ago with a lady who was very, very close to the University of Tennessee basketball program. And, when there was a searching going on, a look for a new coach, she goes, it better not be a man. And she was adamant. She goes, it's got to be a lady. It's got to be a lady. How do y'all feel about that? I'm okay with a guy coaching girls, but some people really feel strongly that if it's a female sport, they want a female head coach.
And I can understand that. I don't have issue with that, that kind of being a priority. I think it's good to have a female coach, at least on staff, to relate with those female athletes. But I've got 2 names for you specifically when it comes to girls basketball, women's basketball: Jason Reuter and Gino Ariama.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. But this lady was a Pat Summitt. She was the greatest of all time, and we'll never have a man coaching the Lady Vols up there in Knoxville, blah, blah, blah. But it is a dynamic that some people are very strong about. I'm like, just give me the best candidate.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
care. But some people are like, nope, I don't want a man coaching my Lady Vols. But there again, that was a Lady Vols fanatical fan. Very fanatical.
I think in a sport like basketball, like I wouldn't even you flip the role. I wouldn't mind there being a girl boys basketball coach. To me, X's and O's are X's and O's, and players are player development's player development. I do think it's important that there's a woman on staff
I agree.
with them.
Yeah.
But I personally have no issue because if you're a good coach and you can coach X's and O's and you can get into the heart of players, then if you're the best candidate available, you're the best candidate available.
Yeah.
That's just me personally.
But it sounds like Coach Wright's got the resume that pretty darn good.
Definitely sounds like it. That college experience is a big deal. Those connections are a big deal for those girls moving post high school, wanting to play at the next level. It's, good to have a head coach with those kind of connections. So definitely a big hire in a community where, again, Jason Reuter over at Bradley and Bianca Hensley over at Cleveland, you almost had to hire somebody like this to compete.
Well, Jim Smitty was the head coach at Bradley forever.
Yeah.
So the arena's named after him. So yeah, we've seen that in this area a lot. But it's just funny how some people are real adamant about stuff like that. But that was mostly at the collegiate level at the University of Tennessee in actuality. But yeah, she was so adamant. No man is going to coach the Lady Vols. So whatever.
Well, there you go.
And listen, I can understand the take. I can understand it from a female.
The tradition at University of Tennessee, especially,
I mean, listen, you can argue that, Gino's great up at UConn, but Pat Summitt, arguably the greatest women's. She broke barriers for women's athletics, not just women's basketball. So really,
took it to another level.
Yeah, and that was the standard at UT, and that's something that they're trying to find and achieve with each hire since. And I think they got the right one up there right now.
I remember when the Lady Vols, after they built Thompson Bowling Arena, the men played at Thompson Bowling, and the ladies and the Lady Vols stayed at Stokely. Then the ticket demand got to a point where we're moving the Lady Vols games to Thompson Bowling Arena, and they've never looked back. I remember when they were selling out that place, not regularly, but semi-regularly against the bigger opponents.
Yeah.
So you've seen women's basketball and girls basketball has grown so much over the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and tell you, my wife's Nana is one of them that's there literally every time they're at home. She's got season tickets up there, and she was a Pat Summitt lover, and I promise you she yells at the TV like I yell at the TV on Saturdays for college football. So there's definitely, especially around here, a very passionate fan base that without Pat Summitt, that we wouldn't have as much of recognition in that as we do now. The Lady Vols are definitely a staple all the way into my household.
Well, even the name Lady Vols, because there are a lot of colleges that, the women's and men's teams are the same name. They don't make a distinction between men and women. But at the University of Tennessee, they're not the Vols. They're the Lady Vols. And they got different colors. They got orange and blue. The men don't use that. Well, I guess there's been a few times where the men have done that with baseball. But for the most part, blue is pretty much for the Lady Vols.
Yeah, they use that sky blue or the baby
Columbia blue or whatever you call it.
Carolina blue, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they use it for softball too now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw them wearing it in the tournament recently. So.
Yeah. So that makes the University of Tennessee is unique when it comes to that. I don't know many other schools. I'm sure there are a few others where the ladies teams are one thing and the men's are another. But up there at UT, man, it's tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, some tragic news also this past weekend. 16-year-old Bradley Central High School student and football player Brody King. Very, very sad story here. Passed away Saturday, May 24th in a Chattanooga hospital after complications from a car accident a week prior. It is stated that a GoFundMe has been established to help the family with medical bills and funeral arrangements. So very, very heartbreaking news. I know once the news of this accident had kind of spread and gotten out there, a lot of people praying. This community is a very supportive community, especially when it comes to our students, when it comes to our children. And 16 years old, man, just it's heartbreaking.
And the timing of it, you wish, listen, you don't wish, but it would have been nice if they could have had some counselors before the kids got out for summer. They just missed it. So.
Well, I just saw an announcement from Bradley Central High School where I believe today and tomorrow they are going to have counselors present on campus for students, teachers, anyone needing to come speak with a counselor. So,
Yeah.
Patrick Spangler, Principal Patrick Spangler over there at Bradley, and his staff, definitely all hands on deck in this situation. And it's a very, very sad situation.
Yeah, about 5 or 6 years ago, I'd set an alarm on my phone for every morning at 9 o'clock. It just says, pray for my people. And when that news broke this weekend at 9 o'clock every morning, I've been praying for his family. And I know that's how our station feels. Mm-hmm. I know that's how our community feels. Their family, their friends, and the community as a whole are in our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, just so young, 16 years old, just starting out in life and probably looking to, have a fun summer off and all this stuff, and then the family. I mean, you never get over this, okay? From firsthand experience,
Yeah.
so you never get over it.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yeah, definitely a terrible situation that obviously all his family, friends, our thoughts here on the drive, our thoughts and prayers are with them. So, man, just whenever I saw the news, I as a dad of a kid nearly the same age, I was, it's tough.
Yeah.
So definitely keep your thoughts and prayers with the Bradley football community as well. Brody was a football player for Coach Floyd. And again, there is a GoFundMe that has been established to help the family with medical bills and funeral arrangements. So definitely be sure to there's a link from the Cleveland Daily Banner, and also almost all the news outlets here locally have put that link on there for that GoFundMe. So definitely check that out and help support the family. Hey, some happier news. Feisty Phillies, we covered this last week. Walker Valley softball, they are state champions after winning 10-8 in extra innings against Green Hill in the state championship game last week. And I was fortunate enough to be able to cover their return back to Larry Haney Stadium at Walker Valley, and what a great turnout of fans, supporters for the Feisty Phillies. And had a couple interviewed Coach Lindbergh here on the drive almost immediately after the game pretty much, and then again when I was up there I was able to talk to her once things have kind of set in. And it was a long day for that whole team, so they're rolling in there after 9:30 to about 200 some odd people there cheering them on. It was a really neat scene.
Well, think about how long of a week it's been. I mean, all the emotions and stuff. You've been playing, softball all spring, and then it rolls into summertime. But then you get into that state tournament, and it's just game after game after game after game. The emotions, I could imagine, are just so high. Being someone who's made it to that final round, and how tired I was literally in the third and fourth place game. Like, I just couldn't imagine, getting to that moment and then having to, get settled and, just experience all that. She must have been exhausted, but overwhelmed with joy as well.
Yeah, you could tell, though, those girls were, in this zone where they're running off pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
They're carrying that trophy around their stadium, just happy to bring it home and talking to everybody. But then every once in a while you'd see, oh, man, what a week, as you said, Jacob.
By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the greater Chattanooga area, including Cleveland, didn't exactly kill it over there in Murfreesboro. So good thing for the Lady Mustangs, and they bringing it home the trophy, because there weren't a lot of trophies being brought back to this area.
Yeah, I had a couple track athletes we talked about from Cleveland and Walker Valley that brought back some hardware, but you're right, Jim. It was pretty scarce as far as baseball wise, no representation, and then. Of course, huge accomplishment by the softball team, but soccer, not a whole lot, and kind of cricket, track and field for the most part, just a few. So with that being said, there have been some rumors, and you can probably speak more to this, Jim, that the spring fling could be coming back to Chattanooga.
Well, I've heard, this is what I've heard. I've heard at the spring fling that as we know it, might not exist, but you may have state tournaments here, some in Murfreesboro, maybe some in Chattanooga, maybe some in Knoxville. I've heard the track and field is being looked at up in Knoxville because of the facilities at UT. Softball would be a great fit in Chattanooga with our facilities that we got around here. And then maybe other sports, maybe tennis, or could be, you may not have everything together like we've been used to having for, gosh,
at least
15 years.
I was about to say at least 15, maybe 25.
Yeah.
But and I remember originally when the spring fling was in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
And Chattanooga was a great host. And it's something that I would love to see come back potentially in, as you said, in this different format. But that does kind of line up with when you look at fall sports, when you look at winter sports, the TSSAA doesn't have any other event like the Spring Fling. They do everything else separately. Wrestling has their thing up in Nashville. Basketball does their thing at the Glass House at MTSU in the winter. So, and I know with the football state championships, it's the same thing. Cross country does something different. So it would not surprise me one bit to see them kind of spread out under that same format.
I mean, listen, we understand that the configuration of the state of Tennessee, east to west, is so great that no one's ever happy. All right, like we got the football championship at Finley Stadium. Well, that's great for us. It's right down the road. Think if you live in Memphis or Jackson, that's a long way. Or could you imagine if the state championships were in Memphis? We'd be complaining.
Yeah,
We're too far away. You're never going to satisfy everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it move around different sports in different locations, and each city just bids on it based on your facilities.
Well, and I just have to think about the logistics that goes into all of it, like to try to make it all happen at the same time, because now they've added middle school sports as well. So like baseball was going on around the same middle school baseball was going around the same time as high school baseball, same as softball, all of that to logistically make all of that happen. I had a peek in the window of just like a sub-state game where we had teams from Chattanooga and teams from Greenville, and having to get all those pieces together and make sure everybody has their practice times, all of that. Then to do all of it in Nashville, all at the same time, and have enough people running it and doing it, that would be tough. It'd be hard. So, like, as much crap as people give the TSSAA, to be able to throw an event like that in general and have all that go successfully is a win. And it is a win. So.
And you got different divisions in each sport too. So you got different age groups, you got different levels of competition as far as divisions and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a bear. I can imagine how complicated, and each and every year there's a conflict here or there where, oh my gosh, they messed up, and people get upset. That's going to happen when you have that many things going on simultaneously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, listen, you talk about Chattanooga hosting the football state championships. I know the effort that goes into that, because you're hosting every classification, 1A to 6A. You're doing private school. There is so much that goes into that down there in Chattanooga.
And there's practice that needs to be coordinated.
Yeah, and it's all hands on deck when you talk about local schools allowing teams to come practice at their facilities.
Like, I mean, Siegel came down for when they played Bradley. They were practicing at Lee at 12 o'clock. So like there just so much goes into all that people don't really take the time to think about. They just think, hey, let's show up and play these games. Like so much goes into those things.
I mean, obviously here our schools can just practice at their home facilities because we're so close. But if you're a ways off, then you got to find a practice facility. And I know that the state and the city helps help you find all that stuff, but it's a real challenge, man. But man, I love going to Finley Stadium and watching those games. Now it's a great stadium as far as the size is, to me, a perfect size for the state championships, and the facility itself is really nice. I love Finley Stadium.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think Tennessee is doing a great job, having our state football championships at Finley Stadium, because you look at some of these other states that have them in like these massive
NFL stadium.
Either these NFL stadiums or their premier college program stadium, and it feels like there's 10 people there. It's neat to get to be on that surface and in that stadium, but there's just something about the noise being part of the game that Finley Stadium provides that environment.
I know that they're both like right there in Chattanooga, but like when Baylor and McCallie play in Finley, like it feels like two small colleges worth of fans are there and cheering them on. It's packed. There's something
red on one side, blue on the other.
Yeah, there's something about it that makes it feel like a high school, like a premier high school sporting event, versus like you look at Georgia that plays it in the Georgia Mercedes-Benz, and you're right, like it feels like there's 20 people there because there should be 60,000 people in those stands, and there's more like 10 to 15.
Finley Stadium holds 20,000. So when you've got 11 or 12,000 in there, it looks pretty full.
Yeah,
it looks pretty full. But you're right. If that was at Neyland Stadium and you had 12, 13,000. it would feel empty.
Yeah.
So the venue, the size, and everything, but just the overall logistics. It is so easy to get in and out of Finley Stadium, in my opinion. They've got it really down pat, if you ask me.
So I'm glad, Jacob, you kind of talked about as opposed to it being a Neyland Stadium. I'm speaking to our EA Sports college football gaming crowd right now. So you remember you used to be able to play the Road to Glory with the high school players, and if you were from Tennessee, you played in Neyland Stadium.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
So with that, EA Sports today has announced that Alabama's Ryan Williams and Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith are the cover athletes for EA Sports College Football 26. So listen, I know not everybody's into the whole gaming world. I'm kind of removed myself. I just don't have time anymore. But that's something that every year I get excited now that college is back in the gaming world. Madden is one thing. It's like, oh, the Madden curse. Who's getting hurt this year? Who's going to be on the cover? With this, it's a pretty cool recognition. And could they have done something cool with Travis Hunter or some of these other guys? Yeah, maybe so. But when it comes to returning players, talk about these super sophomores, man. That's a good class.
Did you know that Ryan Williams was 17 when he? I'm just kidding.
That was thrown down our throats every time.
Every time he stepped on the field. But yeah, no, I love that those two guys were chosen just because they were kind of like the dudes. And for me, like I want the video game to reflect like who's a part of the game. So Travis Hunter's gone. Like him being on being on the cover would mean nothing to me. It's the guys that like those two guys are set up to have two heck of sophomore seasons.
No, I saw the video, the image of the Ryan Williams and Smith on there, but I saw another one called the Deluxe Edition where you had a bunch of people on the front of it, including those two guys.
Yeah, and I believe on that Deluxe Edition, what they do, they take the premier athletes, they try to hit up every region. Because I'm pretty sure Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame running back, I'm a big fan, obviously.
He's on
was one of the ones that was on there as well. And I don't know as far as if there was anyone else outside of Ryan Williams from SEC territory. Surely there was.
Kirby Smart's on there.
Okay,
They've got.
See, I didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
I've seen them. I'll look it up, see if I can.
Yeah, he was at the shooting. I'm pretty sure they shot it in like Texas or South California or somewhere, and like he was, it had been leaked that he was going to be on some kind of cover, but it was. I thought it was going to.
I do remember seeing that. Now that you said that,
I know Ryan Day's on there. I know that James Franklin's on there. You've got Caleb Downs is on there. So you got it looks like about 30 or 40 guys.
That's pretty cool
in that deluxe edition.
Speaking of college football,
what the difference is.
Caleb Downs got me fired up the other day. Did y'all see his quotes that what he said to Ryan Day?
No.
They started hanging up national championship stuff in the locker room, and he said, "I'm going to paraphrase: take that crap down. This team has won nothing yet." And so basically saying this is a new team, like we won it, we celebrated.
That's a good attitude.
It's time to get back to
good
work.
attitude.
It got me like fired up, ready for college football all over.
Hey, listen, if you wanted to get everybody fired up with this cover, the deluxe edition of Ryan Days, there should have just brought Lou Holtz out as well. We would have had a good shindig.
Lou Holtz and Ryan Day. I'm going to invite those two over for Thanksgiving dinner.
That'd be fun. Hey, real quick, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got a whole lot more to cover, college football-wise and college baseball-wise. So much going on with college baseball as obviously this past weekend, the ACC and SEC tournaments, all the conference tournaments kind of wound down. Vanderbilt, the Vandy boys, the Commodores getting it done in the SEC championship, and the North Carolina Tar Heels getting it done in the ACC.
We won't even talk about the Whistler.
Yeah.
The Vandy Whistler. Oh my gosh.
That guy's a menace. When we come back here on The Drive.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Some mornings call for a little extra comfort. Introducing Hardee's new home-style breakfast burritos with cheese, fluffy egg, crispy hash browns, breakfast sausage, bacon, and sliced ham in a warm tortilla served with a side of Texas Pete hot sauce. Home-style breakfast burritos, only at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. My Rewards members get a free blueberry biscuit or sausage biscuit when you order on the app. Limited time only. Exclusions may apply by time of day. See app for terms.
Got an injury that just can't wait? There's no need to delay your care. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is excited to announce that our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic is now available on Saturdays at the Gun Barrel Road location. Open from 8 to noon, we're here to treat sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. So skip the long ER wait and get specialized orthopedic care fast. Visit us this Saturday at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Urgent Ortho. We're the center for expert care right when you need it. Learn more at sportmed.com.
Listen to the Alon Exchange, hosted by financial professionals Jay and Brittany Hagee, owners of Alon Planning Partners. Each week they discuss all things financial and answer your questions about investing, preparing for retirement, paying down debt, and more. The Alon Exchange, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Don't miss the Paul Feinbaum Show, weekday afternoons from 2 until 5 on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Always topical, always entertaining. Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 1013, presented by Hardees. ESPN Cleveland 1013 is powered by Duracell.
Cleveland Tire Center, locally owned and operated for over 45 years. Cleveland Tire, your one-stop auto care shop in Cleveland. North Lee Highway, where the name says it all.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, espncleveland1013.com.
You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN in Cleveland. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. Hey, Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians for $17 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning on day one. Medical, dental, and vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And of course, yesterday the NCAA released the teams making up the 64-team College Baseball World Series. The SEC had 13 teams, ACC 9, Big 12 with 8, and the Big 10 with 4. So a huge showing by the SEC, and they are hosting a lot of regionals.
Yeah,
including up in Knoxville.
Yeah, I'm glad that you led with that, because looking at these host cities, it's really, when it comes to like classic, like good college baseball programs, Vanderbilt's hosting in Nashville, Texas is hosting in Austin, and then you go over, UCLA is hosting in Los Angeles. It's really neat kind of seeing. And Ole Miss this year, they've been solid. They made it to the championship game. They're hosting in Oxford, Florida State and Tallahassee. It really seems to be that even Georgia Bulldogs hosting in Athens.
Yeah, UNC hosting.
Yeah, North Carolina Chapel. But you look at the historic programs, LSU, they're hosting in Baton Rouge. Clemson, hosting in Clemson. It's really neat to see these blue bloods kind of all relevant at the same time again.
Yeah, it's good for the sport. And, of course, Tennessee, I like their draw. They've got Miami, Ohio on Friday. They will play the winner of Wake Forest and Cincinnati. So, I mean, Tennessee, I know they struggled a little bit here and there, but, man, against non-SEC teams, they did really, really well. So, you got to like Tennessee's
The SEC's
chances.
just loaded, man.
Oh, they are.
Go ahead.
And that's because I like Tennessee's chances of making it to the Super Regionals. The odds of them hosting a Super Regional are very slim, but I think that they've got a good shot of making it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, who do you think got the easiest draw? To me, LSU at 6. If you look at who they're like who's in their pool, like it should almost be like an automatic. Like I would be floored if they weren't. I feel like they probably got one of the best draws of any group in.
I feel like Oregon got a pretty good draw.
Okay.
I'll tell you the one I think's got the worst draw, and that's only because of the history of these two programs. Southern Miss is a host, but Alabama and Miami of Florida are both in that same region.
Yeah.
So as far as being the home team, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I liked LSU's. But I agree. I think Oregon had a pretty easy one. But really, if you just look at it, like a lot of SEC schools were represented. But if you look at across all sports in baseball, to me this year, the SEC was more dominant than it. Like we talked about how dominant they were in basketball and how dominant they were in football, even though the Big Ten kind of ended up being a little bit better. In the SEC in baseball this year, to me, was by far the most dominant conference, probably across all
There's
sports.
no doubt about it. You look at a team that's kind of quietly gone about their business, and they've been relevant for the past 7 years. Arkansas.
Yeah.
Arkansas baseball, that's a tough program, man. And you're talking about potential super regional matchups. Mm-hmm. That's who Tennessee probably is going to see in a super regional if they both come out.
And Arkansas is one of those schools. They've never won a national championship, and that has really got their fans and everyone so affiliated with that program really fired up. They're like, we got to get a natty, guys. You know, everyone else around us has gotten one except us. And Arkansas, there's been several years where they probably had the best team in the country, and they got upset.
Yeah,
you know, they didn't make it. So we'll see what the Hogs can do this year.
Yeah, one team that I'm kind of looking at, and we got a couple buddies that are going to love me saying this, and they are not the reason I'm saying this. But when you look at these first round regional pools, if there's a team that I think can actually do some damage and come out,
it's Florida.
It's Florida.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Coastal Carolina, Fairfield, and East Carolina. That's their region. I fully think the Gators can win that.
Yeah, for starting as poorly as they did, I don't know if y'all remember. I'm pretty sure they started 1-11.
Yeah, horrible.
Like I remember giving my buddies such a hard time, just being like, they're like, it's still basketball.
And they played Tennessee early.
Yeah, they played us early as well.
Yeah.
But for what they did in the second half and to be able to get the draw that they did. I mean, again, they kind of did it last year. They were a 500 team last year, and they ended up, in Omaha. So,
and you guys know this. You get in these regionals or super regional, it's all about pitching, man.
It is.
It's all about matchups and that pitching. If you got two really good starters, they can take you a long way. They really can. So it's interesting.
Well,
to
and
see.
once you get to Omaha too, like these small ballparks that like people are super successful at, you're not able to carry those fences in Omaha. Like you're gonna have to have good, solid.
Who you talking to, Mason?
Well, before last year, I was talking to Tennessee because Tennessee was known for the long ball, but then last year they went out and won the whole thing.
Yeah.
They pieced it all together. But like that kind of was, everybody was like, well, I don't know that Tony can do it because the home run kings, the short porch. There's no short porch in Omaha.
No, it's a big ballpark out there in Omaha. But the one thing, once they play this the World Series out there, if it gets 90 degrees out there, then the ball will travel a little bit more when the hotter the weather. Although, around here lately, man, I don't know if we're getting. I'm gonna regret saying this. I don't know if we're gonna get any hot weather this year. Next week, guaranteed to be 95.
It's coming. It's coming. So listen, we're gonna revisit this once we move on throughout the college baseball World Series format. But early on, I want to know who your guys' favorite is. Who are you taking to take the cake? Who's winning the whole thing?
The whole thing?
Who's winning the whole thing right now? So listen, if you say Arkansas and they get eliminated, or if you say Tennessee and they get eliminated, we'll revisit this conversation and we'll have our favorites. But right now, just looking at the whole field, and if you want, I can lead us off here.
I'll tell you who.
Go ahead, Jim.
I think Clemson. Watch out for the Clemson Tigers. That's a pretty. I know they're not an SEC school, but man, they're good. I've watched them a couple times this year. That team is loaded.
You know who? I've got a team that I like, but I don't think they've got the depth at pitching to win the whole thing. But in these short game series, Florida State's 1 and 2 are just as good as anybody in the countries. And they're 1 and 2.
Have they ever won a World Series? I don't think they have. I know Miami has, but I don't think Florida State has.
I know that they have a very, very long history of making the College World Series. I can't off the top of my head.
I know they've made it a ton, but I don't think they've actually won the actual World Series. I think they've been a bridesmaid, but never a bride, if you know what I'm saying.
I think they've been. I know they've been to the tournament a ton, and
I want to say more than anybody in the history of college baseball.
I think they've been to more College World Series than anyone, but I don't believe that Florida State has actually taken home the trophy.
Yeah, most recently 1999, and they were the runner-up. They've been 3 times: 1970, 1986, and 1999 to the actual championship, and they have not won.
Yeah, but they make it to Omaha all the time.
Yep. Yeah. If you're going to put me on the spot, I'm going to say Texas.
Oh, so you're changing up from Florida State?
No, I'm saying Florida State's a team that I think can make a deep run, but I just don't think that they're going to have the depth in pitching to make it all the way through Omaha. If you want me to pick a team that has the overall depth around it all, I think I'm going to go Texas.
So I was torn between 2 teams when I was thinking about this. Florida State was one of those 2 teams. Lincoln Jarrett is a phenomenal coach. He's a Florida State alumni, was on that team that had their last World Series appearance for the Seminoles, and recently he had been the head coach at Notre Dame. That's how I know Lincoln Jarrett.
Right.
And Lincoln Jarrett took a northern cold weather school and beat Tennessee in a super regional 2 years ago.
Huge shocker. Shocker.
Lincoln Jarrett is a phenomenal coach. I would not be the least bit surprised to see Florida State make a run. But the team that I'm locked in on, and I just think they're playing good baseball right now, they're pitching well, they're hitting the ball, is the Vanderbilt Commodores.
I knew
the SEC champs. Tim Corbin is the best coach in college baseball, bar none. Tim Corbin is a guy, he's got the track record, he's got the alumni support. You look at Major League Baseball right now, guys like Dansby Swanson, guys like David Price, all these young guys. I'm trying to think of the Mets, famous Mets pitcher, his son's pitching in Texas now.
DeGrom?
Not DeGrom, no. Leiter. Jack Leiter.
Jack Leiter.
He Kumar Rocker. He's got guys all over Major League Baseball right now, and he's attracting the best high school baseball players and talking a lot of them out of even going to the majors and saying, hey, let's hang around and go to Vanderbilt for a little bit. Vandy is a dangerous baseball team, and they showed up at the SEC tournament.
Well, I've gotten to listen to him speak multiple times, and just hearing him talk, you can just hear the wealth of knowledge. But then I also feel like people have kind of slept on them over the past couple of years, just because
You're right.
Because there's been a lull.
Well, other SEC teams just got good. You look at the emergence of Tennessee, you look at Ole Miss, LSU, Mississippi State, and then you add a Texas in there, and then Georgia has made their way back.
We've not even mentioned Auburn.
Yeah,
I know.
Who's awesome.
Yeah,
they're so good.
So to me, when it's kind of like how we talked about in basketball, some of these blue bloods in basketball kind of got slept on because there was some new emergent players in the SEC. He's the best coach, in my opinion, the best overall coach in the SEC. Even though he hasn't had some success in the past couple of years, he has the track record plus the players to talk about that he's sent in the league year in and year out. They're dangerous. They're always dangerous, and as long as he's at the head of the ship, they're going to continue to be that way.
Yeah, and I do believe that we're going to have coverage on Friday.
That's right.
So we will be cutting out of our show early on Friday in order to get that first game for the Baseballs on air here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, and I believe that'll be that's scheduled to be at 5:45 first pitch, and that is Tennessee. And Jim's got it here.
Well, here's the Wake Forest plays Cincinnati earlier that day, and then obviously Tennessee and Miami is at 6. So there's a 5-hour gap in between. So that's pretty much set in stone that game is going to be first pitch is at 6. 5:45 is
pregame.
We're going to go pregame. So that's what we're going to have on the air on Friday.
So we're going to talk a little bit more baseball now, but real quick, we got to let you know. You need to turn your freezer into your own personal ice cream shop with Mayfield Dairy's latest products, the Sunday Delights Ice Cream Cups. They're now available in 5 flavors: peanut butter candy pieces, cookies and cream, original chocolate fudge, original caramel, and original fudge. Visit them online at MayfieldDairy.com. So Mayfield Dairy, obviously, big-time supporters of the Atlanta Braves here on the Drive, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention that Ronnie Baseball's back playing again.
This guy predicted, I kid you not, on Friday, he goes, Ronald Acuna, he'll go deep, first at bat, What did he do?
Well,
was it first pitch?
I called first pitch.
Did you even call it?
I called first pitch.
He did. He called it, and of course he lets me know about it. But unbelievable. But little did we know that'd be the Braves' only run that game.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Ronnie Baseball said, I got to carry this team. But, of course, he did come back with a boom. The corresponding move was Orlando Arcia was DFA'd and has since been signed by the Colorado Rockies. So
they need all the help they can get.
Yeah, and that's an established major leaguer who's coming into Colorado that is going to be good for that clubhouse, that's going to bring some energy to a team that's just got to be down in the dumps right now. So we wish Orlando Arcia all the best. But talking about our Atlanta Braves, they lost 2 or 3 to San Diego over the weekend despite Ronnie Baseball's best efforts. They were off last night, thank goodness, to be able to mentally reset and get ready to go. But game 1 of that Padres series, a solid outing from Chris Sale. Unfortunately, Raciel Iglesias gets the loss. That's
unbelievable.
We got to figure something out in the back end of the bullpen.
You and I have been talking about this for a month and a half. It's gotten to a point now. I don't know how Snicker can put him out there anymore.
Yeah.
I really can't.
It's got to be Kimbrel time soon. You got to give him a shot.
Anything.
Got to give him a shot. Yeah. Game 2, a solid outing from Grant Holmes, 7 innings, only 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and the Braves' only game of the series in that game 2 was 7-1, and then game 3, of course, a 5-3 loss. That from the get-go just seemed like, it's just not going to be a good day. And that's what I hate. Anytime the Braves have gotten to 500 this year, been close to 500, it's just there's a letdown. There's like, oh, hey, we've got to 500, or we're a game out of 500. And then they just kind of, it's like they get deflated.
Yeah. Have you seen the whole Brian Snicker commenting on the grounds crew?
Oh, you about that
with Austin Riley's error?
Riley?
Yes.
Yes. He has hinted that like 4 out of the 5 errors that have happened with him since May 8th have happened in Truist. And he had hinted that they weren't really on Austin. So it just makes me wonder, like, what's the matter at third?
That field's immaculate, man. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a cop out. I'm sorry.
I feel the same way, and I'm a big Brian Snicker guy. I love.
You think that's just trying to get Austin going and saying like, hey, it's not on you. Like, just go out there and keep
my
playing?
manager's supporting me move on. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with it. But that grounds crew has done such a good job for years.
I'd like to see what the stats are for the opposing third baseman in these games. Are they having problems too? Probably not.
And it's uncharacteristic. Austin Riley has been a phenomenal defensive third baseman, but I'm glad you brought this up, because there's got to be some accountability for Austin. Austin needs to be like, listen, dude, I'm messing up.
It's on me, man. Yeah. It's on me.
Yeah, as a guy who's supposed to be a leader.
Yeah, and maybe that's just that's the Snit trying to like keep his vet like, like feeling good and like it's okay. But man, like,
what if you're on the grounds crew right now? Aren't you feeling a little pressure? I'm like, oh my gosh, if Austin and Riley makes one more error, I'm like, well, that's it.
I'm
out of here.
And have you ever looked up? Because I've looked up at like how much they've made. Because like that would be like an awesome like kind of like sidekick job. Like they make pretty good money.
Oh, they do.
Well, the head's groundskeeper makes really good.
That's a career, man.
Yeah, they make pretty good money for it just being during baseball season.
Right after those comments, Brian Snitker pulled a Happy Gilmore and got on the intercom to the grounds crew and said, "I'm sorry, baby. Keep doing a good job on our infield." Yeah. The Braves currently 25-27, third in the National League East, 8.5 games back of those nasty Phillies right now. The good news is they are back in action tonight up in Philadelphia, taking on Bryce Harper and the red-hot Philadelphia Phillies, who are 34-19 and first in the National League East. Excuse me. So, man, talk about needing to make a splash. Hopefully Ronnie continues to show up for this Braves team and everyone else kind of follows his lead.
We talked about the Phillies and the Dodgers all year, but man, I'm telling you, I think the Chicago Cubs are another team, guys. I think that they're playing really good. And I like this Cubs team. I watched them. I can't remember who they were playing the other day, but I was like really impressed.
Yeah, Cubs are playing good baseball.
That entire lineup looks strong. So obviously the Padres, the Dodgers, Giants, those 3 teams out there, the Mets and the Phillies, and I'm going to include the Braves in the East.
They got to show me something.
The Central, everyone's kind of looking past the Central Division, but I think Chicago may be a team to watch out for, man.
Yeah, I think you're right. But as far as the Braves go, they got to show me something. And tonight in this series against the Philadelphia Phillies, getting it rolling at 6:45 is a good time to start. Again, first pitch, 6:45. Spencer Strider, who has yet to record a win yet, of course, being out on the injured reserves there for a while, getting his third opportunity here now to get a win on the season, currently 0-2 with a 5.79 ERA, and he's facing a guy who's pitched really well against the Braves over the past several seasons, Ranger Suarez, who's 3-0 with a 3.7 ERA. And, of course, that game will be on Mix 104.1, and, as always, presented by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Tonight, ESPN coverage is NBA. We've got some Pacers-Knicks going on. That game will be here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. The Pacers are up 2-1 currently in that series. Have you been keeping up with any of the
road teams? Won every game.
Yeah. It's wild. So it's getting to the point here with the NBA playoffs where I'm kind of like it's getting my attention a lot more because there were so many just ugly, sloppy blowout games early. NBA has got their playoff system wrong. It's too much. It's too much.
Do you think there's so many series that are, the best of 7. Do you think they should be best of 5 until you get to the finals, or do you think it should be best of 7 in the Western Conference Final, Eastern Conference Final? So some people think that the series should not be 7 until the finals. I think it's okay to have 7, best of 7 for the Eastern Conference Final and Western Conference Final.
Yeah, I'm on board with the conference finals, but before that, especially, you look at how ugly some of these series were in the opening round. I think you got to condense it a little bit because you're losing people. You're losing fans, and they're kind of going away. And then, we're at the conference finals now. Let's pay attention. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of okay with it. To me, like, still the atmosphere inside those arenas for the NBA playoffs is still elite, even when they're blowouts. Like the home fan base, even if you're the 8th seed and you got blown out by whoever, like getting your fan base getting to be there and getting to experience one of those games, I think it's worth it. Like I've been to a Braves game where I was at the Braves game where we got 10 runs scored on us in the first inning against St. Louis.
Yeah,
I was there for that game, but like the hours leading up to that, just getting to experience playoff baseball and getting to do that with my family, like it made it worth it as a fan, even though going in there we got our butts kicked.
My next door neighbor, from St. Louis, mind you, was at that game too. He flies his Cardinals flag outside. I mean, I fly my American flag. He's got his Cardinals, and he gets a new one every year.
Yeah,
this guy bleeds Cardinal red, man. It's unbelievable. But he was at that game, and he loved it, of course. You know.
And so like to me, like I'm okay with it just because like it's still a good environment for the fans there. But as a viewer at home,
TV ratings are terrible.
I can understand that side of it, but as a fan of
the diehards that show up,
it's another game that you get to experience in a playoff setting.
That's true. And going over to the Western Conference Finals, Game 5 will take place tomorrow at 8:30. That'll be here on ESPN as well. The OKC Thunder taking care of business right now, up 3-1 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we'll continue to follow the NBA action as it's to the point where I say, hey, it's important basketball now. It's meaningful basketball. Yeah. But, hey, real quick, so this is another thing that we talked about last week a little bit, again, as we transition off Braves here. And hopefully, listen, again, that Philly series, big deal tonight. Hopefully we get on the right page and look like a contender. In segment Braves. Going back to college football, something that we're all very passionate about talking about. They adopted the new straight seed model, and with that, it's going to get the seeding accurate. What that means is that Tennessee fans, Vol fans, you guys would have been hosting SMU at Neyland Stadium this past year instead of traveling to the Horseshoe to take on the eventual national champs. Mm-hmm. I think this is something that they should have done from the get-go. I understand why they didn't, because they wanted to provide some incentive and say, well, we want the conference championship games to mean something. We want being in a conference to mean something. With this, they're going to look at the body of work. The body of work only in straight seed.
Yeah, well, go ahead. No,
I was going to say the one thing that is good about this, and the reason they were able to make this change because it had to be passed unanimously, and they still guaranteed $8 million to the conference champions. So Arizona State, Boise State, even if they're not a top getting a bye, they still get the $8 million. So even though they're seated lower, the money for them doesn't change. So that's how that thing got passed.
Yeah, to me, it takes I was on the camp of I didn't think Clemson should be a higher seed because they won the ACC. Now with
weak ACC.
Now with that being said, I do think it devalues the conference championship game. I already felt like it didn't really matter all that much, and like that was like the last little thing that made it matter. And now that's gone. Like I'll be honest, like I don't want to go play Texas a week before I go into the college football playoff. There's no reason to. There's no reason to go get hurt. There's no reason to, like, because think about it. Carson Beck goes down, and then we have to go play Notre Dame with our backup quarterback. I don't want that game anymore, and that's sad to me because I love the SEC championship. I remember looking at my mom saying, when I have the money, when I'm an adult, I'm going to buy a ticket to the SEC championship game, and I did in 2017 and got to watch my dogs do it. Now that game just doesn't matter to me anymore.
Have you heard the rumors, guys, that if they go to a 16-team playoff, this is just rumor now, mind you, so that there wouldn't be an SEC championship game. There'd be an SEC championship weekend. The number 1 and number 2 teams wouldn't even play. The game would be the team that finished in 6th place would play the team that finished in 3rd. The team that finished in 5th would play the team that finished in 4th. Those 2 winners are guaranteed a slot in the 16-team playoff.
Wow.
That's ludicrous.
So that you're taking 4. Is that?
Yeah, you got 2 games. You got the 6th place versus 3rd place, 5th place versus 4th place. The winners of those 2 games make the playoffs. Okay, now the teams that finish 1st and 2nd, they're automatically in.
So that's
and
a
they don't even have to play.
That's a 4-team lock out of 16 teams for the SEC.
It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't like this.
There might be a year. Listen, there's some years where you look at the SEC and you're saying, man, 5 teams are good enough to play for a title. And that's very relevant. You look at this past year, Tennessee, Texas. I mean, you could put Ole Miss,
Georgia.
My thing is,
you can put 4 or 5 teams in the mix for it. But
South Carolina was knocking on that door.
Yeah, they were.
That
I
They
don't
were.
want to devalue, though, the regular season by saying, because I'm sitting there going, you finished in 6th place. You got to live with it,
brother. It's already devalued, and I'll tell you from my own personal experience. When we lost to Ole Miss, it didn't hurt all that much. I just said, all right, got to go beat Tennessee. Like that. That's all. Like whereas beforehand, I would sit at
devastated
home and sulk and think, "Oh, it's over. There's no chance. Our season is over." Yeah. Now, like the regular season, like you can take the lumps. You can take. Yeah. And so I guess like from a mental health standpoint, I get to feel better on Saturdays.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
but like this. It's not the same college football we fell in love with.
Ohio State lost to Michigan. Any other year, you're devastated, and Ryan Day is on the hot seat. In fact, he might have been fired.
Yeah.
So what's he do? Well, Ohio State. Well, okay. Oh, they get in the playoffs. Oh gosh, they get to host Tennessee. Well, they rolled into Tennessee, and that gave them momentum going to the Rose Bowl. They just waxed Oregon. Then they beat Texas, and then they played Notre Dame. But prior to the 12-team playoff, the loss to Michigan would have knocked Ohio State completely
out of contention.
Completely.
You go back to the BCS era, they're out.
Well, think about
Season's
this.
over.
Notre Dame losing that Northern Illinois.
Season's
There's
over.
no way you can overcome that.
Season's over.
In a 14 playoff. No way you can overcome
Now,
that.
that's where the one thing that I do like about last year's and moving forward, you're getting the best teams at the time when it matters, at the end of the season.
I get you there.
That is the one thing that I do love about the playoff, because the length of an entire season, a lot of growth can happen. A lot of things can change from week 1, week 5 even, to week 13, 14, 15 as we're getting into this playoffs. And what I like about it is you talk about Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois. We talked about it a lot on this show. That was one of those moments where it would have been a deal breaker in the BCS era, but it was a team that, hey, you know what? We're a lot better. We messed up, but we get to move on.
Literally every game after that was a playoff game for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of one basket, the other basket. Like, on the other hand, it's just going to become who's the deepest team in the country.
Yeah.
And because, like, you sit here, like, as you play 14, 15, 16 games, people like Ohio State who have NIL money and who have
and depth
have stacked this up, and teams that don't, like, you can go look at, some of those back end playoff teams like an SMU. If they have any injuries,
they're dead.
They're done.
Yeah.
So to me, it's on one hand, yes, we are getting teams that have developed and are getting better and playing in the best that they're playing right now. But at the same time, like we had this conversation off air a few weeks ago, is there ever going to be a Indiana that goes and wins it all because these blue bloods have too much, they have too much depth.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show, finish talking a little college football.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Hardee's original bag packs 2 full-size favorites, plus fries and a drink starting at $5.99. Pair any 2 items. Choose from a charbroiled double cheeseburger, hot ham and cheese, or hand-breaded chicken tender wrap. Or choose 2 double cheeseburgers for just $1 more. A great big bag of original goodness starting at just $5.99. Only at Hardee's. Download the Hardee's app and join My Rewards for special offers. These items only. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Come to Don Ledford GMC and save the whole month of May as they commemorate Memorial Day with tremendous savings for the entire month. You'll get tremendous discounts and factory rebates on their entire inventory of GMC professional grade pickups and SUVs. Listen to this great purchase deal. Buy stock number 250586. A 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation Series 4-wheel drive that has an MSRP of $58,825 for only $47,720. That's over $10,697 in savings. That's a truck and a price you don't want to miss. And hey, they have special leasing options available as well. Don Ledford GMC, North Lee Highway, Cleveland. DonLedford.com for details and a trade assistance coupon. Don Ledford GMC, where they say yes. GMC, we are professional grade. Stock number 250586. Price includes all qualifying rebates and is plus tax, tag, and title and dealer fee of $649. Must take delivery by June 2nd, 2025.
Got an injury that just can't wait? There's no need to delay your care. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is excited to announce that our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic is now available on Saturdays at the Gun Barrel Road location. Open from 8 to noon, we're here to treat sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. So skip the long ER wait and get specialized orthopedic care fast. Visit us this Saturday at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Urgent Ortho. We're the center for expert care right when you need it. Learn more at sportmed.com.
What if a friend or a loved one was thinking about suicide? What would you say? What would you do? The Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network provides support. TSPN teaches how to spot warning signs of suicide, and we teach you how to do something. Go to tnprevention.org to learn how you can help with suicide prevention efforts. That's tnprevention.org, a public service announcement of the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network and this station.
Hey guys, this is Dan Good from Crown. Just reminding you that Crown Ram is Cleveland and Bradley County's Ram headquarters.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
And welcome back to The Drive, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, MixTV.tv, and of course, here on ESPN Cleveland 1013. I'm Andy Morris, along with Jim Gum and Jacob Mason, who's got a fresh new tan from a long weekend of golf.
Oh, yeah, baby. Excited to be here. My chiropractor was extremely excited to see me today because, after me yanking my back out of place trying to make the ball go 120 yards down the fairway.
How did you play? Seriously.
Honest to goodness, I played terrible. It's okay. Did not play super well. My irons were on fire, but I could not get off the tee box. My driver sucked until about 82 holes in, and then I figured it out.
Figured it out.
Yeah,
Took him 82 holes to figure it out.
But irons were great, putter was great, but I'm telling you, my driver was terrible. Good.
You played your own ball.
We played best ball.
Best
so
ball. Okay.
Luckily, I did have a partner to help me get off the box, but myself, not so much. My 5-iron though was elite this weekend. So
there you go.
Hey, so listen, we want to finish the show up here talking a little bit more college football. But, Jacob, just so you're aware, got a text message from our friend Josh Rogers saying he hit 90 holes in 52 hours.
Yeah, me. I did too. Did you do the same? Are you saying Josh did or I did?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, I did. I played 90 holes in 52 hours.
Hey, you know, I think he
to get it going though.
I think he's talking about you.
Yeah,
so I misread this text.
I played 90 holes in 52 hours. It was it was a sprint of a weekend.
I don't think I've ever played that many holes in that short a time.
Dude, we had guys on the golf trip that played again on Monday morning. They played. Joel Swartzel, local coach, played 27 more the next day. Wild, absolutely insane.
That's wild. That's a lot of golf.
Yeah,
man.
a lot of golf. He played really well this weekend. So shout out to Joel if you're listening.
Well,
yeah. So listen, we got to talk more about this format and with college football. The college football playoff. It sounds like there's a lot of frustrated SEC fans out there.
A lot of fans frustrated across the country.
But the way you put it, 4 teams possibly getting in, Jim, I think that's great. Like, there's some years where, listen, Georgia's going to be elite. Tennessee might be right there in the mix where their only loss is to Georgia. And then let's say Texas. Those might be your only 3 solid teams, and you're getting another one in.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it's more so the nostalgia and like the change of it all. I already don't love change, and it's just taken such a drastic change from the BCS era. Then we went to the 4 format. Mm-hmm. Now we're all the way to 12. We're flirting with 16. The conferences are wanting to change up. We were talking about it off air that the Big Ten and the SEC are thinking about leaving the NCAA altogether. There's just so much change and uncertainty that I think college football fans are just like, pump the brakes a little bit. Like, we're already dealing with NIL. We're already dealing with all this crap. Like, stop all the madness. Let's get a hold on what we're trying to work with here.
If I were to tell you there's going to be a 16-team bracket, you would automatically think that, okay, all 16 teams, there's going to be 8 first-round games, and then you just go from there. But they're talking about a 16-team bracket where you get not 1 but 2 buys. They're extending it. I'm like, if you're going to do 16, don't screw up the bracket. Just nobody gets a bye. Everyone plays a first-round game, and they're all on campus and be done with it. But they're talking about a double bye?
No.
I'm sorry. That's wrong, man.
Don't do the double bye. And especially, like, you looked, teams that got the bye struggled.
They went 0-4.
Yeah, they struggled. So like, don't add a double bye. You're basically with the double bye. You're basically sitting there like we did with the college football playoffs when there were 4, and you're almost going to sit a whole month by the time they do the selection week. And that normally, even in those 4 like those when it was top 4, those first games were normally pretty sloppy. One team always looked way better than the other. You could tell who prepared more and who was physical all winter long. Again, I'm more of a traditionalist, I guess. I don't like change. But there's just so much going on in the sport that I read all that this weekend. I said, I don't even want to try to keep up with that.
I don't
even want to try to figure it out. Because you're going to change your mind 2 years later, and you're just going to try to money grab for broadcasting rights and all that kind of stuff.
This is my lack of understanding here. The very thing you just said, we're going to change it 2 years later. For the longest time, how long and how much did we hear coaches, players, ADs, media people complaining, the BCS is broke, the BCS is broke, we need to fix it, we need to change it, and nothing ever happened for years and years and years. And everyone was saying all along, hey, a lot of money can be made going to a playoff format. A lot of money can be made. That was out there. That was no secret. And then finally, for some reason, they said, oh, hey, if we go to a playoff, we can make a lot of money. Let's go to a 4-team playoff. And that finally happened. And we had it for a chunk group of years to where we could say, hey, we've had this sample size. This is what we need to do. Now we're knee-jerk reacting to everything under this format. And I'm all for going to 16. But let's breathe here and get through this system for a little bit and point out the flaws. And I'm all for fixing things efficiently. But let's point out the flaws and move on after maybe 4 years, not 1 year.
I'll be honest. I just didn't like this format of how it went this year in general. Wasn't a big fan of it. Like, I liked it
because they messed it up from the get-go.
It was messed up from the get-go. There has been. I would be okay if they flushed that out and said, let's go to 16 right now, because in other divisions of football, we have been doing this
for 30 years.
And we did it successfully there. And the roadmap is there to be successful.
Do you remember the big controversy this past year was oh, this school's their finals is this week, the week of the game, and you had kids that were cramming for finals
Notre
while they're
Dame.
practicing for a football game.
Yep.
So we got that dynamic to deal with too. So, and all these schools are on different, their calendars are a little different. So you got one school that's the kids are done, they've got all this free time. And other guys were like, "Well, it's finals week," and so you got that dynamic to contend with. To me, I've said this forever. To me, the perfect number, and they went right past it, was 8. 8, you still maintain the integrity of the regular season. But 8 teams making the postseason is enough to satisfy
I had
me.
originally said that myself.
I wanted 8, but I wanted 7, 8, and 9, 10 to play in for those final 2 spots.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I wanted
play-in game.
we talk about the top 10, the top 10, the top 10, the top 10. That's shoved down our throats. Preseason top 10. Give me the top 10 teams in an 8-team playoff format, and the last 4 teams have a playing game to see who's in there. That was always
That's neat.
That was always my take on it. It kept like the importance of being a top 10 team all year long intact. So that was always my go. But like to me, we're sitting here fighting over the format, and we can't even get the transfer portal right. We've got kids that are literally like we're battling the transfer portal when you're going to play for a national championship. Ohio State was literally beating teams off of their 1s and 2s, trying to recruit them away while they're playing for a national championship.
They actually lost a backup quarterback. After the Oregon game, before they played Texas, they lost a quarterback to their transfer portal.
And that's insanity to me. Like the fact that we're sitting here arguing about a format.
That's a calendar issue that has to be corrected.
Yeah.
But this is my thing with the whole portal. We can't figure it out in high school sports. We're in the state of Tennessee, and we don't know the rules. We don't know what we're doing. I'm not going to get into it today, but we got kids transferring out of our ears, and we don't know if they're going to be eligible.
No
one knows the answers.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's an injustice.
Everybody thinks they're going to be eligible, but like the way the rules read, I don't know how they're going to do it. Like it's insane. And to me, like we're fighting over these issues, and like that's what's stealing all the coverage, because the transfer portal is technically old news. But like if you ask every coach in college football what they cared about more is seeding for the college football playoffs or fixing the transfer portal, they would say fix the transfer portal right now.
And then you got the Big Ten and SEC who are trying to run football by getting 4 automatic bids in a 16-team bracket. I'm sorry. Look, more often than not, the SEC is going to get 4 in. More often than not.
Yeah.
But don't guarantee. You have to earn it every year.
I agree.
And one year you may get 5 or 6. One year you may get 3. That's okay.
And it should be like 3.
Guarantee 4?
It should be like a guarantee of 3 with a possibility of 4.
I think you should never have a max. I think you should have I'm not even sure you should have a minimum.
Well, it depends on the makeup of the rest of the
every
college
year's
football.
different. Every year's different. If you give me 16 spots, I'll promise you the SEC is going to have 3 literally every year minimum, and some years you may actually have 6.
There's been years where the ACC title game has had a team with 3, 4, 5 losses in the title game.
That's when they had divisions.
Yeah.
They were uneven.
Yes.
uneven.
But there's been years with the Pac-12, the same, which I know the Pac-12 is no more. They're trying to come back. They're not going to be a premier conference. But there's been years where you've had that. And to avoid that to me, when I look at that, that's saying, hey, the conference is weak.
Well,
the
that's when they eliminate if you eliminate divisions, the odds are very, very good. You're not going to have a 5-loss team in a championship game because one division is so much better than the other. I don't know if you know this, but the history of the Big Ten, when they had East versus West, the West never won a game.
Wow.
The East won every single time. And there was a time there in the SEC where it was the opposite. The West would run roughshod over the East.
Alabama, LSU, Auburn.
Yeah. Even when Texas A&M came about, years where just the West was just better. And
Missouri would get in there.
Which it comes in waves. It comes in waves. There are some years where it was Florida, Tennessee. You talk about 90s.
In the 90s,
yeah. So it's pretty neat seeing the progression of the game and how things do kind of come in trends like that. But hey, talking about the progression of games, football. Jacob and I have had a conversation about the continuous evolution of off-season football and things like 7-on-7, flag football. Where there's some big news that the Olympics has added flag football, and the United States national flag football team was really excited about it. And then the news broke that NFL players were going to be allowed to participate. So they've got a little bit of a conundrum going on there, trying to figure out how that's going to work out.
Yeah, and so the argument is that the flag football guys feel like that they should be the ones representing the NFL. To me, they're the best athletes in the world.
Yes.
So like, why if we're talking about sending the best athletes to the Olympics, the NFL guys are going to be the premier guys. Do I think there should be guys that should make it? Sure. But, like, I can't even think of that guy's name. The guy who's made the big pitch.
The quarterback.
The quarterback.
Yeah.
You watch him throw out of his arm slot, and he looks like a middle school quarterback throwing the ball. He's just extremely athletic. He moves really well. His his hips and stuff. He's insane.
Which is all relative to flag football. He's a great fit.
Yes, but if you're giving me him or you're giving me Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson, I'm taking Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson.
Hey, don't forget about Patrick Mahomes, man.
I just think those two, and when you say flag football, those are the two quarterbacks in the NFL right now that just pop to my head like
an athletic quarterback.
They would be elite.
Yeah.
And then so you're telling me I could go have Justin Jefferson trying to pick out man coverage or whatever, or some Joe Schmo that works a 9 to 5. I'm sorry.
The biggest thing that when you say this, I think of receiver. Like, you can find some physical mismatches of some 50-50 balls that don't exist. There's no longer a 50-50 ball. If you were able, you want to go back some years and throw out Terrell Owens.
Oh my gosh.
Megatron even. Yeah, Calvin Johnson. No one's going to be able to compete with that. There is no 50-50.
Look, Megatron had people convinced that the best play to run down there on the goal line, like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, was throwing it up to him in the back of the end zone.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I like his chances of coming down with the ball.
He convinced coaches for years that was the play that they should run instead of running straight up the middle. But I can't see a world. Me and you, we agree but disagree a little bit.
Yes.
I just think if you gave those guys 2 months, maybe not even that, you gave them a month of practicing flag football, they would wipe the absolute floor.
Give them a long weekend and a case of man sodas.
Yes, and it's not even going to be close.
I'll tell you what's funny. We'd probably have the United States versus Canada. You'd have the NFL guys versus the CFL guys for the gold medal, right?
It'd be so ugly.
Hey, we'll settle the debate right here.
Hey, time out. Chase Artopius, Chattanooga quarterback, is playing in the CFL now, by the way.
Hey, Condridge Holloway lit up the CFL back in the day.
So, hey, you had a great idea. Go ahead with it, Jacob.
This ends the debate. A year before the Olympics happens, on July 4th,
boom,
we have a game.
America.
Their U.S. national team versus the best of the NFL. Whoever wins gets to go play, and I'll support whoever it is. If flag football walked off the field with a win and they beat the best athletes on planet Earth at the sport that they're good at, by all means, I would go buy what's his face's jersey and I'd wear it on this show. I'd let you take a picture in it and I'd wear it on the show and I'd never say no word about him. But it's just not going to happen. That would be like me saying I didn't want Raul Acuna on my slow pitch softball team because it's a different way of throwing it.
I get it. I get it. All I'm saying is give the guys that have laid the foundation for that game, for that sport, give them a chance.
But give them a chance. I'm all for them trying out.
Yeah.
If by merit they can make it, I'm just saying by merit, they're not going to beat Tyreek Hill.
Here's my thing: the guys that are the best flag football players in the United States. You know why they're the best flag football players in the world? Because they weren't good enough to play tackle football at a higher level. They just weren't.
Yeah.
Nothing against them, but that's the facts.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. Hey, there's another dynamic. Are college players eligible to show up and play?
Because, Jeremiah Smith, you tell me, if the NFL, was doing it right now, he would be one of those guys that I'd say,
no doubt.
Give him a shot.
Second or third string guy.
Yeah.
But
my guy Jeremiah Love, who likes to hurdle people when you're trying to grab his flag, if he jumps over, you can't get
I know one thing: we won't see the push, the tush push in flag football, will we?
No, we won't. But and really, it's going to come down to this. If we're just being honest, the NFL is trying so hard right now to market football to the rest of the world. They've got seven.
Right.
They've got 7 games that are across seas. Why in the world would the NFL not do everything they could to not push their premier athletes playing on a world stage?
Money talks.
God forbid somebody gets seriously hurt, though.
I mean, yeah.
There's a risk anytime you're out there.
If the play, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, they all go play
That's
in the
right.
they all go play in the
Yeah.
Olympics.
You can tear you up your knee just making a bad cut.
Yeah. So, like if it, to me though, that's another thing. Like I know it's like I'm an average Joe. If I was good enough to be on a flag football team and like they finally said it was coming to the Olympics, I would be very disappointed that they pushed these NFL guys.
That's part of the reason, though, the Pro Bowl has done what they've done to where they just do these goofy things and they do a flag football game there anyway now because it got to the point where guys didn't want to hit each other.
Yeah.
Guys didn't want to tackle. They wanted to wrap up.
But you're giving them an opportunity, like an NFL guy, that says like I want to go play in the NFL, blah blah. For years has said, I'm not going to compete in anything in the Olympics because they don't have anything for me.
Yeah.
Well, now some of the best athletes on earth, some of the guys that like their competitive drive is to be the best at what they do potentially get to go out on a world stage and say, America's here.
Okay, I've got another sport for the Olympics. Best ball in golf. So you get a long drive hitter, and then you got Jacob with a 5-iron.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, bring home the gold, brother.
Yeah.
Play 90 holes like
Best
that.
ball. I like it.
I can think of an Olympic sport that I would be able to take a medal home in, and it's not going to be golf. I'm just going to go ahead.
Come on,
and
you were
say.
just bragging about your 5-iron.
Oh,
Come
well,
on,
hey,
man.
nobody actually that's listening gets to see me on the golf course. If they saw, they'd know I'd be lying.
Do you roll the ball around and get a good lie?
You get a club's length.
Club length.
I love it.
Listen, if hot wing eating ever becomes an Olympic sport, Jacob Mason's here for it.
I'm in it.
I'm
There
telling
you
you.
go.
I'm in here.
Guy's dangerous. He's dangerous.
All right.
Hey, listen, last thing coming out of the NFL, Kirk Cousins was not in attendance Tuesday for the Falcons' first voluntary organized team practice, and he has been around, but the situation down there with the Falcons where they've been pretty firm. Michael Penix Jr. is our quarterback.
He's
Kirk
the man.
Cousins is the backup. Michael Penix definitely showed up last year, started playing some good football. Kirk Cousins has met with management, said, hey, can you get me somewhere else? I feel like I'm a starting quarterback. They still owe him quite a bit of money. So
Trade him to the Steelers, man.
listen, the Browns, they've got 5. Well, what's another one?
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans, you got Cam Ward, bring that guy in, let him mentor Cam Ward just like you did Michael Penix for a year.
And then what? Week 8, he loses his job again.
Might be.
But he's making good coin doing it though.
Yeah, no doubt. But that is the news out of Atlanta with Kirk Cousins. Guys, great show today. Enjoyed it. Glad to be back in the studio. Of course, a lot. When we have these long weekends, a lot happen. We got to try to catch up
We got
on a
our
bunch.
3 commercial breaks in. Come on.
We sure did. So, hey, little extra innings today. That's always our favorite. But with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off for the day. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Hey, try to socialize with us a little bit on Facebook, ESPN
Yeah,
Cleveland,
hey, I wanna give
TN
it-
1013.
I want to give a shout out. Logan Harbison, he's listening today. Texted me. He thinks Tony Vitello is the best coach in the SEC. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree.
Of course, Logan does.
But hey, we
Vol guy.
We love it when y'all text us during the show or when you post on Facebook. So thank you for listening. We enjoyed talking a little sports, having a little fun today.
Yep, absolutely, man.
So, hey, with that, for Jim Gum, Jacob Mason, I'm Andy Morris. We'll be back here tomorrow at 5 o'clock for The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 1013.
It's time for a Don Ledford of Cleveland traffic update on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Don Ledford Chevrolet Buick GMC, located on North Lee Highway in Cleveland. Or visit donledford.com for details. Don Ledford, where we say yes. It's on-time traffic with Commander Chuck.
Good afternoon. Traffic still building 153 across the dam headed back into the Hickson area. We've seen plenty of radar today on 24 out through Marion County, especially the closer you get to Montego Mountain as it continues to build on 75 over here in the construction zone. Northbound 75 in Shallowford all the way up through Ooltewah Collegedale.